history. The other book that I really enjoyed, a book by an Israeli author, Yuval Harari, called Sapiens. And it's a sweeping history of the human race from 40,000 feet. And part of what makes it so interesting and provocative is that because it's such a condensed, sweeping history, it talks about some core things that have allowed us to build this extraordinary civilization.
And COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. If we want to stop this epidemic, we need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin.
Cardinal Mueller from Germany recently gave a warning that these global elites are attempting to use the pandemic to usher in a total control surveillance state.
What we have seen so far, it's corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin. We now see mass surveillance systems established even in democratic countries, which previously rejected them. And we also see a change in the nature of surveillance. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin. Now it's going under the skin. Governments want to know not just where we go or who we meet. Above all, they want to know what is happening under our skin. What's our body temperature? What's our blood pressure? What is our medical condition? Now humans are developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
It's happening. It is a reality. And if we're not talking about this, it's going to happen. Because you have any government official who starts to sense power, if they don't believe in Christ, they don't have a sense of virtue, they're going to go for it. That's fallen human nature. We have to be awake to that fact.
Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news.
Don't live in a delusional world. Live in reality.
I know that in recent years, we saw populist politicians undermining deliberately the trust that people have in important institutions like universities, like respectable media outlets. These populist politicians told people that, say, scientists are this small elite.
And we need to be talking about this. You need to be saying, if you're going along with COVID, these governments, these officials, they have an ulterior motive for you being afraid. Because the more afraid you are, the more authority you'll accept that you wouldn't otherwise have. That's what they're trying to do. And that's why they're fanning the fears.
And COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. If we want to stop this epidemic, we need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin. And
a report called the VAERS report, Vaccine Adverse Effect Reporting System. With the bird flu, swine flu, in the 2015 or so, 2010, they came up with a vaccine for that. And it was shut down after 200 adverse effects were reported through the system. Because that's too many. 200 is too many. With the COVID vaccines, they've already had 80,000 adverse effects reported. And they're still continuing. Unbelievable. This is going to go down as one of the greatest human rights violations the world has ever seen.